Hey friends, Kylie here, your host of Dream On with Kylie O'Miller, back for another episode with another trendsetter in all things women's lacrosse, creator of all things brave, and someone that brings the boom every time she steps into a room. Thank you as always for tuning in. These episodes are recorded from a live Zoom webinar that I hold through the KO17 Lacrosse app and are constructed into this Dream On podcast that you have found here. I hope you are gaining some insight from these episodes from some of the people that I have met throughout my lacrosse journey that have imposed so much of their wisdom on me. If you're loving our episodes so far, show us some love in the reviews and rate us 5 stars. Also, be sure to SUBSCRIBE. It would mean the world to us. All right, we've got another special guest this week, and I'm pumped to get right into it. Crista Samaras is an absolute legend in the game of lacrosse. And sadly enough, we barely discussed her insane skill in this episode. We did, however, cover everything in between. The hard stuff, the sticky stuff, the high moments that made all the low ones all the more worth it. We talked about B words, especially the one that connected us, bravery. We covered it all, from her time at Princeton, discovering her path on and off the lacrosse field, to the lifelong bonds and lessons that she explains came from training for the U.S. national team, to the tireless work that she's done to promote the game and the players within it by carving out a career path that may have seemed uncommon at the time, but provided a space for someone like myself to chase after filling. Crista is someone whose energy is contagious in any room she steps into, her passion inspiring on any level, and to quote her, she is an impact player in my life, in a way that makes me dig deeper, go out of my comfort zone, and attack challenges in life head on. We even conquered some on-the-spot 7-line pitches. Take a listen to see what I mean by that. And we challenge you to try and come up with your 7-line pitch when you take a listen to one of my new favorite episodes. Let's go now. All right, everybody, welcome to another Dream On episode. Really excited about this one. We've got absolute rock star Crista Samaras here with us. I'm pumped. I haven't seen you in a long time. I've seen you on a bunch of videos, Zoom, FaceTime, all the things over this past COVID year, but haven't seen you in person in a while, and somebody that I'm sure we're going to get a bunch of throughout this episode, but your energy is just contagious. And
what?
Yeah. See, it's starting already. So for those of you who are listening, Crista is both a Princeton women's lacrosse and a Team USA women's lacrosse alum. She's the founder of Brave Enterprises, which I'm excited to dive into because I know we've got some exciting things on the brink coming up in the future. She is a mom of 2 awesome kids, and she's just an all-around badass. I'm excited to have her here today. So Crista, thank you for being here.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here. I'm especially happy to be talking to you, Kylie. Miss that.
All right, we're going to go off to a good start. That's how we like to start our Dream On episodes. Rather than just diving into, hey, Crista, where are you from? We're going to get into how you're feeling today. So something that you are thankful for today, Crista.
I am thankful for my in-laws. They came to New York City. We haven't seen them in over a year. They've been here for nearly a week, and they live they have a place on the Upper West Side, and they took me and my wife to lunch. It was great. I am very grateful for them.
Oh, that's amazing. You haven't seen them in a long time, huh? Oh,
a long time. I mean, and they are, they're awesome. They're great. My kids have awesome grandparents, and these are 2 of them. And it's been crazy because we used to see them once a month and we haven't for a year. So they're both physicians in North Carolina. So they're vaccinated, and as the world opens up, I'm grateful for all of that, but especially today, having spent like a nice 2 hours of like a long lunch right down the street outside on a beautiful day. It's hard not to be grateful for that.
Oh, well, that is a beautiful day. I'm grateful that they were able to be there with you guys finally. Yeah. And thank you for all of the work that they've done over the last year or so. I can only imagine. So something that you're proud to say that you've accomplished today.
Oh my gosh. Today, so I'm in a development phase. So a development phase for me is when I'm building content, when I'm making stuff that's about to be released. And so today we developed a ton of content, some that we will be working on together. So that feels like a lot. And I'm really proud of what we got finished today.
Love that. It's the behind the scenes work, right? That
Yep.
nobody really, you see it on announcement day, but the days like today where you're just putting in the work behind the scenes, they
I
feel
love that. Those are the days I like the most. I mean, actually, having been like a star lacrosse player, it looks like, you're kind of there for the glitz and the glamour of it all, the big moments and the last second shots at the end of the game. But really, the time I'm an introvert, which may seem crazy since I am loud and like I do like to also be the center of attention, but I like to put in the work a lot of times by myself. It's very therapeutic for me. It's super meditative for me. And so that was like today was one of those days. And I always love those because I feel creative, I feel accomplished, and I feel restored.
wow, amazing. You're already throwing like your brave pitch at me right now.
I got you. Gotcha.
Just for your day. We're gonna get into brave pitches like a little bit later on in the episode for those of you listening who don't know what they are. But I already have mine up on my notes. I'm ready to rock because I know.
Dude, I'm pumped. I got a new one.
Ooh, we got a
I know, girl.
Oh,
What's
man.
happening in a year? You can't have the same brave pitch now as you did a year ago. We're different people.
You're right. Okay, last but not least, something that you're pumped to go out and chase. Could be tomorrow, could be within the next year. What's that for you?
This is always, these questions are always hard for me, and they're hard for me because I'm so pumped about so many things. So I've been doing a lot of cooking, and for my family, the one upside of being inside with your family every day is that we get to have these dinners together. So I am pumped to learn how to work with phyllo dough. So I'm just saying, sounds a little crazy, but it's my world right now. So yeah, there's that. Play guitar. I'm pumped to like actually get my guitar. I have to restring it, so that's a little nuts.
Have
But
you ever
yeah,
before?
what's that?
Have you ever done any sort of guitar lessons before? Have you played before?
Oh, I mean, I taught myself, and like so I like jam a little bit, but like you can't really do it with only with two few strings. Like I tried to, and I was like, this doesn't work as much. So I'm pumped to chase after getting a damn extra string and like being able to play it. But you can ask me that at any time of the day, and there's like a million things. I'm curious, and I love looking forward. And so it doesn't take much for me to start like getting up, being like wide-eyed and pumped about going after something. The harder the better, really.
So let me start off with that exact kind of quote there, but have you always been that way? Did you always grow up, having that kind of sense of waking up wanting to chase after something, or was that something you think that developed as you, got into lacrosse or got into, playing at higher levels? Was that something that was natural, or did it come?
I have to say, like, it was natural for me to have drive. I have two parents who worked really, really, really hard in their lives in different ways. And so I was seeing those patterns before me. And I kind of took the best of both of their worlds. So I got, I'm super gritty. Like my mom, she can dig in, she can break down really big concepts and like into like digestible steps. She can really translate into her own life how she's going to make something happen. She's hopeful. She's got big ideas. My dad puts in the time. And so I kind of had these both of these things going. So yeah, I have to say I'm lucky that I had that like combination. But I'm also, I think it's really important to say, like, I was a sad girl. I was a sad little girl. I've struggled with depression for as long as I can remember. So having that combination can be, a little devastating sometimes, because like I wanted to get up and go, but a lot of times I was stuck right where I was because of fear, because of sadness. So yes, and there's still demons there,
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I think that's really important for you to say, because I think that, a lot of people might look at someone as successful as you, and be able to say that there has been no struggles, but that's not necessarily the case. So for you to be able to be confident enough to say that, I appreciate it. I know all of our listeners do as well, especially the ones who might have similar struggles and are going through similar things.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So I know that lacrosse is the thing that connected us. It's the thing that's connected so many of us. Super grateful for that, because I wouldn't be sitting in front of you right now. We wouldn't be doing the work that we've been doing together without it. So can you tell us about, how you got introduced to the sport, going back to younger days, and, good, we're going to get into the superstar that you were. But when you first started, when you first picked up a stick? What was that like for you?
Yeah, like I wasn't an athlete. I'm gonna just say this. I'm one of 6 kids. We're a big Greek family in Annapolis, Maryland. So you can't really grow up in Annapolis and not at least try lacrosse for 8 years to decide that you don't like it. It was about on that 8th year where my parents said, after this year, if you don't like it, I like made dandelion headbands. I was like, what is going on? And then, and I've told this story a bunch, so these people know that I'll name them. But Tammy Phipps in 6th grade, like we were playing in a game, and after the game, she got all this attention because she did all these things, and I was like, I don't know what she's doing, but it seems like she's good. People are clapping, we're winning, it's great. And I was like, people are giving her attention, and that's when I was like, wait, we can parlay this into attention. Again, I wanted the mic. I love being on stage, and so I started to be like, well, what is she doing? And that was the beginning of what I began building, which was a game that is really an amalgamation of all the people I respected, Tammy being the first best player I'd ever seen, Emily Franey being the second best player I'd ever seen, and 2 of my cousins being the next best players I've ever seen. I just accumulated watching all these people, breaking down their skill, and I became like a wizard at taking what other people were doing and applying it to myself.
Well, that's really cool that you said that, because, something that I think is really maybe uncommon, right? When people ask like who your role models are, a lot of people look to those, big stars, right? Or big athletes that they've looked up to growing up, or, think of the Michael Jordans or the Serena Williams or the Alex Morgans and all that. But you were mentioning people who were close to you and in your circle, right? And I think that's something that's so important, someone that I'd don't mention a lot, which I really should, now that you're making me realize it, is, my older cousin, Brenna. She was my only female cousin. And when I was younger, she played soccer. I knew I loved lacrosse, but I just idolized the way that she was, a baller, and she would go out and she would just play sports all day long. She worked hard in the classroom. She, had her head down, and she was just kind of like doing what she needed to do to be successful. And I remember like writing in my diaries when I was like 11 years old, like, I want to be just like Brenna,
That's so awesome.
And it's cool to see that like other people have those role models right next to them, and they're really not much farther than to your right or to your left.
Well, we've had like there's so many the world is so rich with opportunities to see and translate what other people are doing into your own life world and passion. And I remember when I was working at Warrior, it was a men's brand before it was a women's brand. They bought Brian eventually, but I was hired to start the women's division there. And they're like, you get your first collection. Now they said things like, obviously I knew I was being hired as a lacrosse person. I was going to be designing lacrosse sticks. But what I heard, I thought they were talking to me as Versace. I was like, oh, you mean a collection? Like I can have clothes, I can have, they're like, well, calm down. So I remember being so inspired. Like we did a bowling bag, like so it was a lacrosse bag, but it was like inspired by bowling. So I was like, this looks really cool. And this would actually fit all the stuff I wanted, but I'm also a girl and I really like fashion. So I want to make sure I'm showing up to the field looking fly. We took like an archery, glove, and like I didn't like wearing gloves, but in some cases like I was getting knocked on my hands, I was getting checked on my hands, so I made this glove that we called the trigger finger glove, and it literally just covered your hands. Like here I still have a prototype, and it was a hit. I mean, we did, of course, I did dresses, the whole deal, but so I mean, I think like you get a sense of not only am I looking in my immediate circle for people, but also things to translate into my world. I've always been that way, but also, as you can hear, like I am very easily inspired, and my passion booms quickly.
Boom. We're going to get into that word. I know it's your favorite. Okay, so let's just get into it now. What brought about the word boom?
So yeah, I mean, I ran a lacrosse club before I started Brave. It was called X Team. It was for girls from non-traditional lacrosse playing areas all over the country. So basically everybody except for the people from New Jersey, New York, Maryland, where I was from. And we helped kids who wanted to play lacrosse in college, but who lacked resources. Sometimes they lacked playing opportunities at their high schools. Sometimes they lacked good coaches. The game was still developing way back when. And I notoriously always had a word of the season where any kid could email me and they were always going to get a response, but it was going to be one word. Sometimes it was jam, sometimes it was badass. And just at the end, it became boom, and it's stuck ever since. It's also my B word, which we're going to get to. So it's the thing that I like live to do. My purpose in life is to help people boom. I want to, as much as I spent my life and time at the front of the pack of lacrosse players, really my heart is like right behind the best. And I want to make sure they feel good. I want to make sure people like are so excited about their life, even if they're sad, because that can happen. And so my B word, be boom, I kind of put it out in the world, and now people say it back to me all the time, which is like the most gratifying thing in the world. A lot of people, when they get an email from me, I've clearly said boom. Even people I'm just meeting for the first time, and they write back, you know what I mean, like, you know, whatever my answer to my question is, and then they write boom. I'm like, okay, we're seeing each other. Sounds good.
Isn't that great to feel the inspiration and want to do something about it, and then see it kind of reciprocated, and just know that it's the best feeling in the world, even if you haven't done much else, but you've just kind of gotten through to that person based off of
you feel seen, you feel heard, you know, like, and you feel like they felt what you were trying to do, which I love. I'm obsessed with it.
Amazing. Well, you know, be boom. And
yeah.
I will forever associate that word with you. That's a cool story too, and such a incredible thing that you were doing with X Team as well. You know, it's important to focus on everybody, right? And not just the best. We see a lot of the best all over social media, in the lacrosse world, in the sports world, in general, in life. But everybody's got a story, everybody's got a place.
I also think, like, and just to pause you there, like, I think what X Team really was for me is like, I really kind of built a crew of kids who wanted to play the game so badly, they were willing to defy all the odds. And coming from a place, you know, at the time, especially, you know, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, when we were still running it, you had to really break in to this elite list of schools. You had to have the grades, you had to have the, you know, the grit, you had to have the game IQ, you had to have time in the game, and they were defying all those odds. And so really it was like a motley crew. It was like a crew of underdogs. And so we really trained the underdog. We understood what extra stuff you needed that would help compensate for possibly a lack of like depth of skill and time in the game. And we were successful. And more importantly, that meant that they were successful, not because they got into good programs and for scholarship money, which they did, is because now they're all grown women, like with this advantage of knowing themselves and understanding those social skills that really start to tie together passion, purpose, strategy, you know, and being really not only just resilient, but really resourceful. They knew how to make a lot out of what they had.
Well,
awesome.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, good for you, because I think that's so important for these women to take not only onto the lacrosse field, but like you said, into quote unquote the real world, right? Or whatever that might be, whatever they're doing now. I can guarantee you that they're super grateful for their time with X Team and with a lot of the things that you guys taught them. So, you know, I think that's something that we can all say that we've taken from the sport of lacrosse, whether we are still playing, still coaching, or, you know, just kind of around it, or even not, right? We've just learned so much from being a teammate, being a leader, that resiliency of, you know, waking up and getting on the line at 6 a.m. and doing it for your teammates. And like you said, the glory comes with the game-winning goals, but it's the journey, and the process, and it's those moments that are really what make it all worth it.
Totally.
So can we talk about your journey to going from, you know, making dandelion headbands, right? And then finally finding like you could have a passion for this sport, and then taking that to Princeton, taking that your journey to Princeton. Where was that kind of crossover? How did that journey unfold? And then can you talk about like how you found Princeton and what kind of drew you to that institution?
Yeah, you know, frankly, my sister was really into the recruiting process, even though it was sort of the, you know, the I don't even know, the nascent days of it, like it was just starting. And you know, she was so dead set on going to a really good school. And I kind of was clueless. I really didn't understand what Princeton was. I knew that they were good at lacrosse. I knew that we had gone up and seen like a game at the campus when I was a freshman in high school. And so I was like, this is really cool. It was this beautiful stadium. And they were competing for the big title. So I was like, I'm interested in excellence. I'm interested in balling. I'm interested in like, when you throw the best in a room, like I wanted to be the best in the room, but then I wanted to go and be with the best from all the rooms. And then I wanted to try to be the best there. Like, it's not about like being number one. I'm addicted to not accomplishment, but I'm addicted to progress. I'm addicted to growth. And so when I got recruited to play at Princeton, like my number one sport was basketball. It was my favorite sport. I'm like not been unclear about that to everybody, but I wasn't as good relatively to the sport of basketball as I was to lacrosse. I had a really unconventional game at the time. I had a really short, quick first step. I could use both of my hands. And so when Chris Taylor saw me in 1993 at what they called, it was the very first All-Star Express, she was like interested. And so were some other schools, but it came down to, Chris being so persistent in seeing me truthfully and, and probably telling me how my game could really help a team like that. They also they won in 1994. I was going to come and be a freshman the next year. But all in all, I think, for me, Princeton seemed like if you want to try to be the best among the best, you got to go to the best place. It wasn't until I got to Princeton that I realized, oh, this is a really good school. And it sort of happened in reverse. I probably should have done way more preparation on that one. And I struggled for 2 years, not lacrosse wise, but I struggled in the classroom. I failed out. I got kicked out of the school for a year, and then I decided to go back. And it was the best decision I ever made because Princeton ended up being an incredible place for me. And, I say it was where I got smart.
I got smart. Put that on a t-shirt. Princeton is where I got smart.
That's true.
Oh, that's amazing. What's great about what you said there is like a lot of ups and downs. And that was a question that I was going to ask you about your time at Princeton, right? Is everybody, and I always go back to this, everybody that I've had on this podcast, everybody that I've talked to has had some sort of different story, right? Some sort of different journey, and everyone's downs look different than someone else's downs, but they all, when you're in them, they feel just as down, right? Like in comparison. But where do you think you got that strength to be able to come back after those failures at your first couple of years at Princeton? You wanted to come back, you wanted to chase national championships, you wanted to be with the best, and you wanted to be among the best, if not the best, which I absolutely love that you're saying too.
Yeah. I mean, I think the answers I want to say are built in I looked at people have asked me all the time, like, what's your distinguishing characteristic as an athlete, as a superstar lacrosse player? And I always think, well, listen, if you pull, I was a pretty good leader, I was pretty gritty. I was pretty optimistic when it came to being an athlete. I worked really hard. I had a lot of zest. I had a lot of passion, but all of those things you could pull out and my career would probably still stand. I'd probably still go back to Princeton, despite it being the hardest place on the universe for someone like me to exist. But it was like bravery was what I think about saying. If you pulled out the bravery that I had to walk outside of my comfort zone every day in every class, to raise my hand and participate in class when like everything in my body was telling me like, you're not smart enough to be here. Clearly you failed out. Like, I had evidence that was piled up. I'm a numbers person. I'm a data person. I always have been. So like all of me wants to say that it's because I was brave. And by the way, that is a feature of my personality that I have always had, but really it's because of my teammates. Like, I love my teammates. I rode so hard for those girls, and still to this day, they're the people that they know me. Like, I could come to them right now, you know what I mean? Like 20 years later and be saying stuff. They'd be like, stop. You're like lying to everybody because it's so obvious. We know exactly who you are. Like, you are now who you were then. It's not that I haven't changed. I have grown. I've done all those things, but my teammates, they never let me let myself stay in one place. They never let me think that I didn't deserve to be at Princeton, even though I was sort of irresponsible, even though they had to struggle in a season without like a player unexpectedly that they were relying on. They welcomed me back. They allowed me to with my tail between my legs, they allowed me to regain their trust. And in that, I regained so much of my own confidence. And when they, elected me to be one of the captains my senior year, like I was like, I cannot not do everything with this opportunity. And, I tore my ACL on Halloween, my senior year, playing for the USA team at Virginia. And I had surgery the next day, and I had 12 weeks to get back to be able to make it for my first game. And I did. And that's probably, this is a story that Abby Wambach says a lot when she was sort of sidelined in her final game for the USA team. And it resonates with me. It's like, that was my best opportunity to be a leader, was when I wasn't even like holding the ball, even at practice. I wasn't out in front of the sprints. I was literally like doing everything I could, being as loud as I possibly can, cheering on people in practice. So my teammates are they're the reason I came back. They're the reason I worked all the extra hours with or without them. And they're the reason why, like, I'm so, like, self-aware, because they were holding me accountable to that. They're like, you deserve at least to be honest with yourself, and we love you no matter what way you are.
Isn't that incredible that a place, and just a place that you wanted to go and play lacrosse and become a good, just version of yourself, you end up finding family, and you find people that are going to be there, like you said, 20 years later, and the rest of your life, no matter what life kind of takes you through. They're always going to have your back. They're always going to push you to be the best version of yourself. I know I can say the same for my Stony Brook teammates. I know that it's going to be an everlasting thing, but it's really just incredible to hear that it happens everywhere. And I also didn't know that story about your ACL senior year.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. What's it, 12 weeks? Yeah. 10 weeks is when I got cleared. 8 weeks is when I took off the brace. 10 weeks is when I got fully cleared. 11 weeks I went back to practice, and then I played 15 minutes in our first game against Rutgers, which we almost lost. So I was like, can I just play a little bit longer in the second half? And my coach was like, nope.
Absolutely not.
It was a really cool thing. And actually, this is where the lacrosse community is pretty incredible. I got tons of letters from opposing coaches who would have done anything to, listen, they were spending a lot of time on their scouting reports trying to shut me down. And, a lot of people were like, we can't, a win against Princeton without you fully back is not a real win. So we want you to get fully back. And they were encouraging me to crush it. Amy Patton is one person. She was a coach at Dartmouth at the time. Heather Dow, who was also my USA coach, was coaching at UVA at the time. And they were also my biggest cheerleaders. And they said, listen, we beat you beat us fair and square when you got that brace off, and you can go. So it took a little bit, it was like throughout the course of the season, but it was a wild ride, and it was really fun. And I think my teammates just got to see me in a whole different light. Like, she's the underbelly now. She's gonna support us from the bottom up versus the top down. And without that opportunity, like, I found out a lot about myself during that time.
Well, wow. Another story. You learn something new every day, but that's an incredible story. And I love your reference to, opposing coaches and people who you probably would have thought would have been rooting against you in other points in time, right? Will always have your back.
Yeah.
Just because of how successful and how much of an impact they can tell that you're having on your team, both, physically on the field and when you're trying to beat their team, but also just in the culture and in, the aura of the team. You clearly had a massive impact in that. So that's just a testament to you as a leader in itself. That's a really incredible story. So thank you for sharing that. So a little bit, you mentioned this quickly, Team USA, right?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, a little like flip of the hair over the shoulder. Yeah, I got to play.
Yellow.
So talk about your journey there, right? And we got to go to a World Cup, correct?
Yep.
About that story, when you think back on that journey, what do you think of?
Yeah, I was lucky, after my freshman year, the system was very different then than it is now. They sort of were toying with this developmental team, but it never really quite, there was sort of just the national team. And so when I was 18, I graduated or finished my freshman year is when I tried out for the first time. I went very nervously with the senior on our team, and it was like, oh my God, this is like my dream. I can't believe this is happening, with so many players who were the teachers of my first real professional lacrosse camp when I was like going into ninth grade. It was all the girls who played for Maryland. It was like Erin Millen. It was Jen Sharkey. I can't believe I'm like saying that name. It's so for so long. And those are like my idols because we got to see them play. And so here they are like trying out, because really really, they were only 6 years older than me. But when you're 13 and they're in college, like, now I'm like 18 and they're like 24 and they crush life. And I'm at the same place, I freaking out and I'm passing the ball to them. And it's like, how is this happening to my life? And I make it. I'm like, what? So I got to start my experience at 18, and that gave me really a long sort of like learning curve of how to adjust to the program, as the program itself was adjusting. But yeah, in 2000 and after I graduated from Princeton, I got a job at Yale as the assistant coach. And that was like super exciting. So I trained my butt off, and I was so scared to try out for the 2001 World Cup team. But I did. And a lot of that came from the encouragement of Cindy Timschel, who I called and I said, what if I don't make it? She was a coach at Maryland at the time, famously supportive of me during my year away when I went to the University of Maryland and saw her in the elevator. That's a story for a different time. She was super supportive. I know it goes on and on. And I said, Cindy, like, what if I don't make it? I'm so nervous. What if I don't make it? Like, I basically just wanted her to tell me, like, you're not good enough, so don't try. Or like, you're definitely going to make it. Though she had no power to say that. Anyway, she goes, yeah, you might not make it, but what if you do? And I was like, what do you mean, what if I do? She's like, but what if you do? Think about what if you do? I'm like, I hadn't thought about that. I hadn't thought about what if I did. I didn't even give myself room for that. And so I started thinking, what if I do? I trained my butt off. I was going into acting school from New Haven twice a week. I was training like crazy. I was taking the Yale players through all this cool stuff that I was learning. And, the process was kind of late. Like our last round of tryouts was in May. And then we turned around 3 weeks later and went to England. We went to England. I was sort of a young one on the team, and we won. I mean, we won against Australia in the finals. It was great to be a part of. It was July 4th when we were over there, so it's pretty incredible. And then something powerful and not so great happened when we got back. We kind of all landed back in July. We're all celebrating, and then 2001 September, that's when the World Trade Center was hit. And so I think with that particular team, and early in the pandemic, that team met again. I mean, I continued to play on the USA team. I played in another World Cup where we won silver in the stadium at the United States Naval Academy, which I love because that was my hometown. But, to reunite with that team all these years later, we did share a really special bond because we were supporting each other, having just had that experience abroad, fighting for our country. What we considered fighting for our country. Then to have all of that at risk with the terrorist attack was potent. And I had moved to New York City at the time. I had stopped coaching and I was gonna be an actress and not say that was sort of timed with unfortunately production in New York City shut down, so I had to find other jobs. But so it was a special thing to be a part of. And the US team, I never felt as bonded to as I did my Princeton teammates, because you share different things, right? Like the coming of age between 18 and 22 is so remarkable. And sharing that alongside of other people, you can't hide your blemishes. You can't hide the things. For US, you're sort of always on your best behavior. We didn't have social media at the time, so we weren't personalities. There weren't things that were like, we weren't being promoted in all these different ways. We were sort of our own little engine. And so in that way, it was super intimate, but it was also really sheltered. And so it gave us time to train on our own. And, we did a lot of training on our own. So, but my teammates, the lacrosse world seems much smaller then too. So we sort of all knew each other well. But it was a great experience. I have so much pride for this country. We've been through a lot last couple of years, but I have so much pride for what America is trying to be. And so it's amazing to look at, I have my blanket, my USA stuff. Hold on. I'm sorry, but the video is going to be there. Everybody listening, hold on. Sorry, I have to show this. So when I had all these things left, this is a big blanket, but these are my USA jerseys, all in a blanket. So like here's 29. I wore it once. 23. This is my 2001 World Cup jersey. Yeah, and these are all the t-shirts I wore at like different practices, or like even when it's so awesome. It hangs like, it's huge. It's literally 10 feet by 10 feet. And it's so great because I don't have the stacks of shirts anymore, but I do have all the memories and it keeps me warm. So I highly recommend a memory blanket if anybody has a lot of t-shirts. So that's a reminder. It's in my office, it's in my space every day. And that goes to show you like how meaningful that team was, that experience was. And of course, like getting a ring is kind of badass.
Oh yeah, it's something I'm still chasing. So
You got
uh,
it. You
for
got it.
for sure. I thank you for sharing like all of those memories. I think like what you said about, being able to share special moments with a group of people that you might not have ever been able to without the opportunity to play for your country, right?
Mm.
Doing something that you're all super passionate about. It gives me chills a little bit knowing that I'm in the midst of hoping to do something similar. And just knowing that a lot of the people out there that, like you said, are training on our own to be able to come together and do something special, and
Mhm.
be able to do what we're passionate about, but for our country. Like you
Mhm.
said, it's almost like going to battle, like in our own way, right? Like in what we're passionate about. So, I think
And you're gonna represent Kylie. You're gonna represent every little girl who has that same dream, whether she is still a little girl or whether she's a woman. You're gonna represent all the people who came before you. Like you're gonna represent, and if you have this brain like I have, like in your mind, you're representing everybody who ever lived in the United States of America, who ever wanted to live the American dream. Like when you make it that big, and I don't have a problem making it that big, like it just fuels you. It's like it's this thing that allows you to do the stuff that's really hard, especially when it's really hard. And yeah, like I say, make it as big as possible. And like, gosh, like how beautiful is it to watch somebody who's like going after something that means so much to them and they're willing to say it before they know at all how it's going to turn out. Oh, bravery. I can't.
well, I'm so glad that you're okay with making it big, because every time I listen to a national anthem, I like start to, tear up, and like it could be like a random baseball game up in the background of some like random restaurant, and I'm like, everybody shut up, I need to stand up and listen to the national anthem. Like that's just how I am.
Yeah.
So I'm very glad that you are, have that similar feeling, because some
Yes.
people look at me like I'm crazy.
No, no, no. And that'll be for the rest of your life, just so you know.
Oh man, okay, well I'm glad, because I kind of like that feeling.
Yeah.
Okay, so post college lacrosse, we talked a little bit about Team USA. We talked a little bit about, you said you got a coaching job at Yale. You went into acting school. You tried to be an actor as well. Talk to us. What was the career path journey like? Ups, downs. What did you want to be when you grew up, when you were younger? And then how did that kind of evolve as you went over time?
I wanted to be a veterinarian. I loved animals. I was obsessed, and like just that I could talk to them, the whole thing. Then I wanted to be a doctor for a long time, and I was pre-med at Princeton until all the things. I still want to be a doctor, so that's on my bucket list here, which I know you're going to ask me. So yeah, maybe I'll be a doctor one day. That was my through line through it all. But when I actually found myself in New York City after 9/11, all I could think about was mobilizing to be helpful. And so I got a job at a gym down where the World Trade Center, like sort of right around there. And we got to like help policemen and firemen and policewomen and firewomen like go in and clean up the site every day. And that felt really meaningful. I know it sounds like it was a gym because I also needed to train, but like we did a lot of work because we were a facility that happened to be located there. From there, I kind of took opportunities as they came. Like I had already started my club team. It wasn't X team yet. It wasn't big yet, but I was traveling around as a representative for US Lacrosse. I was doing clinics in all these different cities. They're like, well, you're going to these clinics anyway. You're like a, rogue teacher. It's fun. Like, the kids will show up. And so I was like, I'll go anywhere you want me to go. And so I started to meet tons of people in Texas and in Florida and in the Pacific Northwest. I got to meet people in California. I was staying on couches. I was like, you can save the hotel money. Just throw me in somebody's like house so I could sleep on their couch. And I spent all this time. So I would say the 10 years after college, like up until I was like 31 years old, I was out there in the homes of people who were passionate about lacrosse. And during that time, I built this club business. We ultimately had four clubs. I bought a club. I sold those businesses in 2014, which is really exciting. And we occupied a brand that really meant something to a lot of people who are still connected now. I'm going to an ex-teamer's wedding like next month in Atlanta. So I'm so pumped about that. But I also was like the first editor of Inside Lacrosse when it was, just starting its women's piece. So I got to be on the front end of that. I got to do tons of commentary for the games that were happening at the time. I got to start a women's brand at warrior and really understand what it's like to manufacture sticks, what it's like to produce equipment as someone who was really like, I strung all my sticks. We made these drinking kits. It was so cool. I got to do a ton of stuff. I got tons of access because of my reach on the USA team, but also because I was an entrepreneur. Well, one struggle that I had was that there was no paved way for somebody to be in the sport without being a college coach. And I knew that I didn't want to coach college at the time because I felt like, okay, there's a lot of stuff I struggled with in college that I felt like I needed more support in high school or my formative years. And that I thought that my personality was just way more suited to help high schoolers than it was to help college kids. Now I did give anything to be a college coach, but it's because I understand now where the process actually is to interfere. And so anyway, so I really spent the time trying to build these pathways. In 2004, maybe you know this, maybe you don't, we started the very first professional game. It was called Versus. And we got in a lot of trouble with US Lacrosse. I'll be tight-lipped here, but we were not allowed to play in that league and maintain our status on the USA team. So it was a little political, which made me angry, but we learned a lot of lessons through that. And we had, thousands of people at our first games. We had them filmed with like cameras on the field. Like that was, sort of my big idea. And even though it fizzled out, like there was a precursors of that. And I say this as a joke now, but like we would make posters of ourselves and then be like, yo, check out this chick. She's awesome at lacrosse. And then the little girls would be like, isn't that you? I'm like, yeah. But you know what I'm saying, right? Like, just pretend she's not me. You know what I mean? No one was marketing for us. And so what I did at that time was like, maybe at the expense of my own marketing was just like, who are the players that can help make this game transition to like beyond our sport and to get the interest of the girls and maybe even boys in our sport. And so I was like, okay, Rachel DeCecco, like, can you be on this poster? Jen Adams would be on this poster. Amy Appel, will you be on this poster? Kyle Harrison, will you be on this poster? And it was so awesome to start promoting people like crazy. And like going back to that campaign when my company wasn't called Brave Enterprises, but it was called Bounce Entertainment. And maybe, the through line is B. Just saying. I know, right?
Like B boom.
Yes. Yes. And that goes back to the B word, which we've been doing for, over 20 years. So I think my career was jagged, but mostly because I was trying to blaze this new trail of how do you make money in this game, being a teacher, being an entrepreneur, being an idea person. And I really tried everything to make ends meet because clearly acting was not paying off. But I still continue to be an actress and I'm still, I still act all the time and I'm still the same studio. So it's all worked out well.
Well, I just want to say, and Oakley wants to join in as well, but I just want to say thank you for all that you did within those 10 years beyond your college game, because someone like myself wouldn't be able to do what I do for a living now, post-collegiately, making lacrosse my living, right? As an entrepreneur, as a professional lacrosse player, as someone who's hopeful to play on the U.S. national team, as someone who has these sponsorships and doesn't work necessarily as a corporate job or your technical college coach, right? Still a coach, but I'm able to pave my own way the same way that you hustled to do, right? And you kind of
awesome
that door.
I mean, I love, this is like when I first met you, I was like, and I remember talking to Taylor Cummings and even Alex Oss at like the beginning of the very first WPLL, the second pro league, some of these professional development things. And I was just like, you guys you can crush it in any way you want. And just with a little direction, not even from me, but just from the world, like you guys are such badasses. I love watching it. I'm such a fan. And like, gosh, if I contributed anything for it to be a little bit easier of a path, great. But I think like, even if that path wasn't there was going to be no stopping you guys, which is awesome.
Well, I do really want to say thank you because I felt that same exact connection when we first met too. Was just kind of like, you almost like we're looking in a mirror of some sort, right? Like when you saw me, you were like, what is it about this girl that like I'm kind of, yeah, like I remember coming in. Do you remember that one day I came into your office in the city and I'm laughing because I actually listened to our podcast episode on Brave Your Fear, like maybe a couple months ago. And first of all, it was what, like 2018. So I was just freshly out of college and, you know, barely knew what to say when being interviewed. I still don't sometimes, but you know, it was all a lot of the same answers, but you were able to kind of like dig deep and really get me to open up a little bit into you know, kind of talking about why I wanted to do what I wanted to do and why I wanted to chase after this path that wasn't necessarily maybe written for me or being handed to me too. Like I remember right out of college, it was, do you want to coach here? Do you want to coach here? Do you want to coach here? Like, do you want to coach for this program? Let's, Kylie, come on in here. And it's like, no, I don't really want to. I don't really know why. I don't know what it is yet, but like, I don't know what it is yet, but I think I'm going to chase after something different. And I'm so glad that, you know, people like you came before me so that I could look to someone like yourself for that guidance, even if it was from afar until I did meet you. So
yeah, I mean, listen, I saw that in you, not like I plucked you out of like you're a, you know, you already had that in you. It was like but it definitely resonated with me because, you know, I see that entrepreneurial spirit. Like it's a thing that I identify in people. I'm like, oh, you're like me in that way. But it's also the thing that I'm grateful for when I failed out of Princeton, because in that year that I was gone, like that's when I discovered like, oh, I actually don't like the conventional path. So I had sort of like emotionally and mentally prepared myself for an unconventional path, which is so ironic that I also wanted to be a doctor, because that is a very conventional path.
very, very conventional. I think that's probably
it might still happen. We'll see.
well, if you do make it happen, I think it'll be very unconventional of you as you got there. So it'll fit the script.
Totally.
Well, that's awesome. Okay, so we talked about everything leading up until now, but like you mentioned, you know, B turned into Brave. Brave Enterprises. What is Brave for our listeners here? What is Brave? Where did it come from? How was it born? And why does it mean so much to you?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really hard question to answer on the edge of the last year. A year ago, you know, we let our employees go, who I loved dearly. One of them was a former X-Team player, and one of them was a former X-Team coach. And so they, you know, carried them with me. It felt like it was born of, you know, all this like perfection of having met these people. But Brave started off as a firm that really wanted to study fear, find out a lot about fear, and build programming that activated people's bravery so that they didn't feel stuck or scared, or that they had tools to be able to get through the things that are really hard for them. And so it's still that. We do a lot more, obviously, virtual programming now, and we're really digging into kind of going back in the direction of sports and really using everything we know to help people get ready for the scary moment, to prepare for big moments that they can be ready for. I know you and I have talked a lot about this, but you know, we warm up our bodies, and we never think that like, you know, okay, so my body's warm, I'm not going to pull a muscle when I go for an interception, but am I emotionally ready to take that risk? Like that's not a physical risk I'm taking. That's an emotional risk I'm taking. I have to like get myself there mentally. And so Brave in the last year has become a lot of like developing of programming that's really helpful for people. And I can break it down to these three things that are really important to me, which is one is like, you know, what teenagers lack, what we lack in traditional sports training, what we lack in schools, what we lack in church, and like all of it is like an insight to yourself. You have to understand yourself more. This is how we build confidence. This is how we build sort of that oomph to like go after something even when it's hard. That insight basically informs your mindset. So like how you want to like look at something, you know what I mean, is your mindset. People think mindset shifts overnight. It doesn't. It shifts like way over time. And finally, like using insight to inform mindset to actually take action, that's a lot. And you want to train that the same way you'd want to train your stick skills, the same way you want to work on your behind the backs, the same way you'd want to like get your like draw position ready, the same way you'd want to get on the line, get ready for your 8 meters. There's a lot of prep work that you can do that we are just not doing.
So you said something that I just absolutely love, because it's something that I guess struggle with as an athlete myself too, right? And the prep work for that emotional moment right? We prep all the time. So for instance, like myself, I'm an attacker. So I'm going to get out on the wall, work on my stick work. I'm going to get out, do a bunch of dodges. I'm going to get out, I'm going to do all my shooting prep, right? I'm going to take care of my body in the sense of recovery. But when it comes to like a game winning goal, right?
Mhm.
Or like your stick is like the ball is in your stick with 10 seconds left and the game's tied, right? And maybe it, for instance, I'll use myself as an example here. Maybe, for instance, every single one of those game tying situations has never gone your way, right? When when you think about that, that has nothing to do with how much prep you put in a sense of shooting, right? In a sense of like having the ball on your stick. I could probably score that goal 10 times out of 10 with my eyes closed if it weren't for whatever's going on up here, right? Yeah. So how do you think that or I guess my question here would be like, what are some of the things that you see in young adults and young athletes the most? Is it situations like that they're trying to overcome? Is it situations where they're nervous about an upcoming tryout? Is it situations where, what do you think is most common that we're trying to overcome as these young athletes?
It's always filtering, metabolizing, digesting of like big emotions that trick you in the moment. So it's managing pressure. How do you practice managing pressure? So great. I'm so glad your like stick skills are, amazing. You have had the opportunity to play at high levels. So you have so many reps where you're under that kind of pressure. But let's say the last year, how many times have you played at a high level? No one really has, right? So like I can imagine you now have two things going for you. One is evidence that you don't translate in those big moments, and now not enough moments to remember how to manage what those feelings feel like. So can you imagine if your part of your training was about fatiguing, like exercising your mental fitness, about getting yourself under pressure, getting yourself tired in your brain as much as you're tired in your body, so that when you put the two together, it combines to be this like great opportunity where you're like, oh, I'm in this place, warm emotionally, warm mentally, and warm physically. That is what we really try to do when we're talking about lacrosse stuff, and where I'm excited to collaborate with you a ton. When I was training for US, after the 2001 World Cup, there was an after New York sort of like, I lived in New York City. I love training in New York City. It's amazing. I feel like I've bounced the ball off of every building in the city. I feel like I've lost many balls on the Hudson River as well, but that's just a part of the running on the Hudson really fast, and taking some risks with your left hand. But I was looking for a team because I was going to be able to train my team. And so I found Trinity Boxing. Also important to me that they were down at the World Trade Center area. And my teacher, my boxing coach was named Martin Snow. He's amazing. And he crushed me every single day. But I remember, never forget, first day, he was like, all right, so you warm up by yourself and then you're with us. I'm like, okay, so the warm up's like 5 minutes. He's like, no, the warm up is going to start at 5 minutes. And every day you come up until 70 more days from now, it's going to go up a minute. So I had to be in my head with my wraps on, jump roping. 5 minutes the first day, 6 minutes second day, 7 minutes all the way up until 75 minutes. I go, now when I'm here, what do I do? He's like, you stay at 75. Can you imagine being in your head for that long? That fatigue. So all of that was just the warm up. By the way, he also made me run down. So it was like 3 miles from my apartment to the gym. Yes, it was serious. And then they like made you a shake. They like really took care of you. So like, I'm fueled. He's like, your body is fueled. I've just fatigued your mind because you've now just been in your head literally for 75 minutes. You weren't allowed to listen to music, anything. It's just all you hear is the 2-minute round of the thing. That's all you got. And then he's like, and now we're gonna push your body so hard. So this is the kind of like training I was like seeking. And I was 200 pounds when I was training at that time. And so the people that they brought in to like, they were teaching me technically how to box, but they were bringing in people for me to spar. And I'll never forget just like the only woman they could get in my like weight class was literally like 6'5". I was like, Martin. And the woman is like, I'm sorry. I'm going to destroy you. I'm like, you are going to destroy me. It was awesome though. I was like, how do we weigh the same? You're literally a foot taller than me. She was like, have you seen your quads? I was like, right.
right. The quads.
Yeah.
Sure. That was a topic of conversation on our podcast when you interviewed me for your career. How does that keep coming up? I know they just keep sticking out. It's okay. Uh, but okay, so you mentioned something that like really resonates with me as well, and that kind of goes along the lines of when you're training for US and you were looking for this team, you were looking for almost like an external force
Mm-hmm.
to push you the way that you knew inside of you that you needed to be pushed, right? In
Mm-hmm.
order to feel prepared, like the
Mm-hmm.
time that you stepped on the field. Like I
Mm-hmm.
can definitely resonate with that. That's something that my trainer does a really good job of as well. We were actually just talking about it the other day of, if we know that a run test is going to come up at a training weekend per se, right? Like that's happened in the past before where we knew we were going to run 2 300s, right? And they had to be under a certain time. So he would make me run 9
Mm-hmm.
every day, right? So that I'm dying. I'm physically,
Desensitized. Yeah.
yeah, it desensitizing it. You would know that you're just going to get on the line and you're just going to have a terrible time doing it. But the second that you step back out on the field, then you're surrounded by your teammates and that adrenaline and everything that's going. So that first one feels super easy because of that. Then the next one comes and it's your last one. You don't have 7 more after that.
Yeah.
Right. So what I can resonate with what you were just saying there is like being put in these situations physically, mentally, emotionally that just seem impossible. And when you can get through those, whatever else actual life is going to throw at you
Oh, yeah.
seems super easy.
Yeah. I mean, two things I want to say is one is, a lot of times with ex-teamers, the parents would say, or the kid would say, I really want some additional resilience training. I'm like, great. Just, we have this little package. You come to New York City for 2 days and you stay with me and you do crazy stuff and you sign your life away. And one of the things I love doing was I would say to a kid, I need your phone. I need your money. And the parents already knew and had agreed to this. And I'm going to we're going to go up. I took them up on the subway. Maybe we go, who knows, somewhere in the city. They were not familiar with New York. I took their phone. I took their money. I said, this is my address. I'll see you there when I see you there.
Ooh.
So no money to get back. They'd have to ask people and they'd have to, I give them the thing, like you have to come back with a random object or whatever. And obviously they were not like 12. They were 16 and like they signed up for this. Again, all the permission from the parents for anybody out there who's like, what? That's crazy. You know what I mean? But like, yes, it was crazy because they were trying to be really good. They were trying to be prepared for moments when they were going to have to use resources and figure out what the solution was going to be. I would say there was one time I was trying out for the World Cup team in 2001 and I was so fit. I was so ready to crush it. And like, I was down there and like, we were going to run the mile and we had to run around this crazy track where like you went underneath bleachers. It was a mess. And after lap number 1, I started to be like, I was on pace, exactly what I expected, but I started to mentally mess with myself in my head because I was getting closer to the fast girls on the team. And I was like, this can't be happening. Like, this cannot be, I am not ready. I was ready to chase them down on the final stretch, but I wasn't ready to pass them a lap and a half in. I wasn't like ready for that. And so that was the first time where it's like, if you pass them, you have to have it in you. You're not even on the hardest lap, which is number 3. You know what I mean? Like, you're not even there yet. Are you really going to go for this now? Yeah. And it could crash and burn. And I remember passing the first girl and I'm like, oh my God, like, is she going to get pissed? Is she going to turn on some engines? Am I not going to have any reserves? The whole time I'm talking to myself in the head. I'm like, you just got to keep going. And then I got closer to the next girl who was like, not just fast, but super fast girl. And I was like, what is happening? I am moving 200 pounds of like muscle right now around this track. And like, and so that was a huge lesson for me that I had prepared my body, but I was not ready. I was not ready to go outside of the structures that I had already put in place in terms of the hierarchy of a lot of things. And I think kids are, you don't know how many structures already exist for you. You don't know, like, at the end of the game, Kylie's supposed to have the ball, but well, I'm Mary and have I ever prepared to have the ball? You know what I mean? Or am I always preparing with Kylie Omo having the ball at the end of the game? Like, everybody's got to be prepared to have those big moments and navigating those moments and creating those, synthesizing them, creating like, versions of these things for you to be able to practice it's not novel. It's just, it's so critical. It's so important. I'm like dying to like, if I could have you for a day, I mean, at the end of it, you'd be like, okay, I understand what brain fatigue is now. I'm like, yeah.
Honestly, I might sign up for that like old time, like take my phone, take all my directions. First of all, I can't get around New York City without Google Maps. So, I might have to come sleep over.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, you would start walking, be like, I can walk, but it's too far to walk. You have to ask somebody. You like might actually have to get a subway ride. You might have to, there's a lot of ways that you find out how people are going to help you. You find out how resourceful you are and you get this confidence coming down. Like, I just navigated like like a really tough city. And like, I made it. How do I know I made it? I only knew some things. You start to really think, what did she say? Did she say the neighborhood was Tribeca? Did she say like, what was it, that subway that she said? Do you know what I mean? You're looking at maps.
44th, like east. Yeah.
Yeah, you look all confused. Some New Yorker comes up to you like, maybe can I help you? And you're like, okay, yes. And now you're in action. So, it's really good exercise.
That's awesome. I love that. But I'm gonna have to take you up on that. But so talk to me about a lot of the things that we've done with Brave, right? I want to get into our Brave pitches and what those are, because I know we've referenced them a bunch on this episode. But where did like a lot of this, I guess, I know you've done a ton of research, right? And a ton of work with a lot of young people and a lot of even like yourself, right? And a lot of people around you. So where did a lot of like, I guess the modules and the everything that goes into a Brave group training or a Brave session or a Brave, everything that goes into it, like where did that all come from? How did it all come about? And then I guess to finish off, what is a Brave pitch and how does it fit in?
Yeah. So a quick answer to all that is we've been developing this content. At first, we were trying to activate bravery so we could actually measure a change in what people felt in terms of their levels of bravery and confidence at the end of the session. We very early on were measuring confidence and bravery, and we found after measuring almost 10,000 people that bravery and confidence are correlated. So when you feel more brave, you also feel more confident. And so as we were packing the session to see what affected those numbers, what increased those numbers the most, we were developing a lot of content that like was so awesome, but like it didn't fit in the session that we were trying to do. It wasn't efficient. It didn't like, it wasn't streamlined. And so we were really sad to see some of the content go. We're like, where are we going to use this? So when, we eventually with a lot of partners developed like multiple modules. So they had the Brave session and then we like expanded on that. People wanted like, hey, what's next? And then over the last year, we've sort of cultivated so much more. I did a class for women. I really got into like sort of the adult space and what that looks like to be really insightful. And what we did was we worked it all down into what's good for every level. So, I wouldn't say we work with elementary school kids, but I would say like middle school, high school, college, and adults. So we effectively measured 7,000 people. We really know and understand when fears change. We really know what the number one fear is. We know what a fear profile for a group, what's typical. And so we build exercises to train the things that people are scared of. And we do a lot of cognitive behavioral therapy based stuff. So if you know what CBT is, like it's about walking into that space and being in it. We provoke a lot of like scaffolded spaces. So you feel fear, but it's not a real fear. It's like a manufactured fear, but you're still practicing nonetheless. And at the end of the day, like the module work is really just hyper focusing on issues that people really struggle with. So handling like choking under pressure is a really big thing. Meditating, breathing, like talking yourself through something, and negative self-talk, like beating negative self-talk. What do you do? Do you try to be positive? No, that's not our advice. Our advice is how do you just get out of negative to be in a neutral space? So a lot of this stuff has just been born of that. And now we're making what we call micro modules. So micro modules are like really quick ways to practice this, train, in the same way, like, you'd go on the wall and take 100 balls or something like that. A Brave pitch was sort of the mechanism that we were taking people through this course. So your Brave pitch is like your story, and it breaks into the past, the present, and the future. Keep in mind, you're thinking about the season of your life that you're in right now. So in my life right now, I've just come out of, we've been in COVID. I've been compressed in my apartment with my 2 kids. I've only been able to work in the mornings. I've had to make sure that my kids are doing their thing all day long. They're on online school. They're going to school sometimes, and that crashes. Like I'm supporting my wife who needs clear margins on her job every day. I'm trying to work out. I'm trying to be happy. I'm trying to eat well. I eat a lot of donuts. And so this is a season of my life. I think about the next 6 weeks. What do I want in the next 6 weeks? Knowing where I've like been over the last year. And so I think about answering all these questions, coming up with these 7 lines of prompts based on where I am right now and what I want. So immediately I think about what am I actually trying to chase? This season of my life, I'm going to call this summer. I feel super pumped, but like Brave is completely booked, which is amazing. And so we now are just in development to make sure we're delivering to all of our people. And then, I'll be facilitating and making sure like everybody feels freaking great about themselves. And so that's the season of my life. When I think about my first 3 lines, the first line is just your full name. That's your whole story. Like there's a lot that goes into my name. I'm Greek. And so Samaras means a lot to me. I have a lisp. So saying Crista Samaras was very troublesome when I was in middle school, but it's really, it's something I really own now. So Crista Samaras is my first line. Kylie Miller is your first line. Every line has a period at the end of it because it's once the story is told, it's told. We move on to a new story, which is the next line. Second line is the year of the greatest significance to you. Now, I had a previous pitch, which I'll give you right now. Crista Samaras, 1999, New York City. I am bold. I am curious. I surprise. Be boom. That is my like core pitch. That is me. In this big stage of my life. Like that's a woman I've grown into being. But when I put myself right here, right now, 1999 is not the year that serves me right now. When I think about what I have in this next 6 to 8 weeks, in this next couple of months, the season that I'm in, like 2000 and 2001 is really it, but I'll just call it 2001. That is the year that gives me the most lessons that I can use for right now. So 2001. And then the third line is your place of greatest significance. So again, normally would be New York City. In this case, it's actually still New York City. So New York City is my place. So those are my first 3 lines. That's my past. That's what I'm pulling from my past to set the stage for my chasing of the goal. Next 3 lines, a lot harder to come by, but we'll condense it here. These are 3 lines. We kind of take a lot of affirmation science here. So when you say things really positive to yourself and you make it a mantra, there are a lot of really great effects on you and your well-being. We sort of like take that as a base, but really, I don't care that you have positive words. I care that you have true words. So we're sort of like cut to the truth. And there are 3 words that really describe the person you are exactly where you are right now, as you're sitting in the chair, as you're standing, breathing in your life. So as I said before, mine were I'm curious, I surprise. I'm bold, I'm curious, I surprise. Now it's I rise early. I am sad. I dominate. What? Yes. And then finally, your last line is this thing that I love so much. It's your B word. And it's a thing that it's a strength that you have that you're going to need to deploy in this particular season of your life. Maybe you don't use it all the time. Like maybe it's your life purpose. And it's the thing that's going to like be the difference between you going after that thing you really want to go after. And when I think about what I want to achieve at the end of the season, like I know for a fact, my B word is be hydrated. I need to make sure that I am fueled. I need to make sure that I am supported. I need to make sure that like I am like just absolutely and totally armored with everything that is in my control. And so that means a lot of the times I gotta say no to a lot of things. I have to like, I need people in my life who can be supportive, and I need to be doing and working with people I really love. So that's the B word. So my new pitch, Crista Samaras, 2001, New York City. I rise early. I am sad. I dominate. Be hydrated.
Love it.
What's yours?
You want my old and my new?
Yeah.
Okay, so my old, for reference, everybody listening out here, this was written down in my notes I actually wrote it down way late, but this was, when did you have me do it?
2018, right?
2018 probably would have been my first session, and then
I could pull it up on our website. Yeah.
Then we did the boom session, right? So
Yeah.
okay, so it was Kylie Miller, 2017, Stony Brook University. I work hard. I have flair. I'm a dreamer. Be a rock star.
So good.
Now you've inspired me though to try and right here on the spot.
Yes.
Okay. Kylie Miller, 2019. Stony Brook University. I am supported. Where do I want to go with this? I have dreams.
I got a good one, but I'm dying to know what you are.
I expect more.
Oh.
Be unapologetic.
Oh, yes, girl. Yes. That's what I'm talking about. I was thinking that one would be cool for you would be I navigate.
Ooh.
I know.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what you need? You need some boom pitches.
I do.
You know what those are, right? like
boom.
the boom pitches. They're little paragraphs that you memorize and then you deliver hardcore.
Yes. All right. You know what? Listen, I think we just figured out that I'm coming over tomorrow. You're just gonna throw me through all sorts of
Oh my God. We're gonna do a day in the life of Kylie with Krista as our mental skills trainer. I mean, literally, that is a series I'd watch.
Yeah, me too. Like, I'm the little guinea pig.
I love it.
That, so
I love it.
something I need for sure, especially after this past year. But I'm so glad that we just did that.
It's awesome. You're
okay,
awesome.
so thinking back to, I know we're going a little bit over time here, but I could talk to you for hours upon hours. Thinking back to like one of the quick questions that we had in the beginning, off to a good start, but your hopes and dreams for Brave, for the sport of lacrosse, women's lacrosse in general. What would you want to see in 5 years, in 10 years? Where do you want, when your kids are my age, to be able to say that they're looking at women's lacrosse, or they're looking at Brave, or they're looking at you and seeing, what are your hopes and dreams?
I hope that Brave is able to scale, and not just as a business person. I'm saying that I just think our programming is really good. I want to get it in the hands of more people, especially kids, and be able to train coaches to be able to know all the stuff that I've spent my life learning and testing. So that's for Brave. I obviously want that all of that programming to make an impact on kids so that they feel better about themselves. And most importantly, they feel equipped to manage the world we live in right now. So what we think we're building or helping build is all-terrain skills for kids to tackle their world, whether it be sports, school. It's hard out there. And we want to meet them exactly where they are and give them tools that they can actually use. For lacrosse, I want lacrosse to be in the Olympics. I want to people always say you have a gold medal, like an Olympic medal. I'm like, no, it's not in the dang Olympics yet. So in my lifetime, I'd like to see that happen. Unfortunately, I think it's going to take that long. I know we're all pushing forward to, 2028 or something. So I'd like to see that. I'd like to see lacrosse women getting paid like a ton of money. I'd like to see coaches of college teams, across the board be celebrated, but also be held accountable for the mental fitness of their players and taking care of people, especially like people who are coming of age between the 18 and 22 there. I'd like to see diversity in our sport grow exponentially. It's too late in the game at this point right now to not have more diversity in our sport. And that's something that's probably the number one thing I care mostly about. This sport is too awesome to not have more people get the opportunity to play it. And it's a really unique community sport. And I think as the community grows, it's elastic. We can bring so many more people in to experience the benefits that this very special game provides. And I'd like to see, I just like to see more superstars lead the way on every level. I want lacrosse stars to be on TV and be doing national sports games. I want people to be on reality shows, and I want it all. I want to see lacrosse players everywhere. There's sometimes a not great branding and marketing for our lacrosse players in the general pop culture. And so I want to make that different. I don't want it to just be like the not nice guy who's the lacrosse player in every movie. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, the lax bro type of
yeah,
stuff. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. We could do away with that. I agree with you there. But
it's happening. I love Katie DeFeo's content. I love Alex, taking the whole sport across the lines into the Sports Illustrated swim stuff. I love you, just enterprising and creating an app and teaching kids from your platform. It's insane. Taylor Cummings just getting into the nitty gritty of both how your body mechanics work, your training, how you look at your mental game around food and eating and body image. That stuff is so important. So there's so many things already happening, but elevated voices for all of that.
Amazing. Well, thank you for your support.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm speaking on behalf of all of us there, but okay, last kind of question here before we go into some quick finishes. Nice little finish round. But a little bit of inspiration. I can clearly say that, you know, I've been inspired with a lot of what you've said on this episode today, and with a lot of what you've told me over the years of knowing you. But who do you think, a mentor in your life, right, that might have passed on a piece of advice or a quote or something that will forever stick with you? Who was that person to you, and what would that piece of advice be?
I think it's probably Cindy Timshel, who said, you know, well, you might not make it, but what if you do? And that was pretty awesome. I think about that all the time. But my biggest mentor, I wouldn't say mentor, I just think impact player in my life, was my professor at the University of Maryland in my year off, named Valerie Jean. And she just took me seriously in all my feelings and all my sadness, and really helped me to explore what it meant to harness the power of my sadness and fuel it, help make it fuel me. And so I would say, she's probably the biggest impact player for me.
Impact player. Love that. I'm going to use that from now on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm feeling it. It's true. Every team's got an impact player, just like everyone's got one in their lives.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Okay. So a little bit of quick finishes here. Name
Yeah.
is quick finishes because, you know, right on the crease, little attack moves.
Girl, I know it. And
You
by
know.
the way, we couldn't follow through to the crease back when I played. So what?
I remember that rule.
Dude,
Oh my
what?
gosh. I'm like trying to get like the dive going on the women's side of the game.
Oh, yeah. Get it, girl.
Just
Get
like
it.
diving right into the crease. Just right in. Anyway, quick finishes. Okay, so quick little rapid fire round. You ready?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, favorite movie?
Beetlejuice. It's
Ooh.
like, it's legit. Anybody who hasn't watched it yet, seriously, if you want to know what the glory in being weird is, it's that movie. Talk about them. I can't.
One band or artist you'd want to see in concert?
Billie Eilish. I can't handle everything about her. I love her. I love her documentary. I want my kid to know about her. Like I listen to her music when I'm cooking. I listen to it while I'm running. I'm listening to it while I'm I crush with that music. I love her. Love
So
the
talented.
creativity. I can't. I want to see her. I want to meet her.
I want to be her.
I want her on my podcast.
So Billie, if you're listening,
yes,
somehow, some way.
I love her.
Okay, tacos or pizza?
Tacos. Literally tonight.
Yes, great.
We have Taco Tuesdays. Today is Taco Wednesday because yesterday, is it Wednesday? Yeah. We do tacos every Tuesday, no matter what. My kids are like obsessed, except for yesterday.
Except for yesterday, so we do it today. I love that. I'm a big taco girl, so we're gonna do that on our little retreat when I come over tomorrow. Favorite word in the English language?
Okay, this is really anything with a B in it. I love the letter B. I love the way it looks. By the way, I'm a synesthete, so like do you know what synesthesia is? It's like where you cross your feelings. The most common is like when people see numbers as colors. So when like you see 434, it's like this blend. So I feel in fabrics, but also I feel like when I look at a letter, I have feelings towards the letter. B is like, I can't explain the fabric, but it's like cotton. I can't explain it. Anyway, so I like the words brave. But the V gives it's very serious at the end. Bounce, I mean, it can't talk about it. Bounce is just like, it's like a watermelon. Like it's just like, it's filled with lightness. And then this word that I feel like I made it up. We used to have an event called this, but I love it so much because the G's complement the B's like an upside down. Biggie, Biggie. Biggie. I mean, you're yes. I got some brain stuff going on here.
Oh, I love it. That's amazing.
Look up synesthesia. It's pretty cool.
I'm going to, because when you're talking about numbers and words, I've definitely experienced that before. Mm-hmm. So I might have a little bit of that going on in my brain too. One athlete that you're avidly looking to for inspiration.
I'm gonna give you two. LeBron James, I'm like really interested in what he's doing as a businessman, but also as a thought leader and as a leading athlete for the basketball community, but expanding that to all athletes. But I'm pretty interested in Naomi Osaka right now. I think she's got a lot of stuff to say. I think she's at the beginning of a very long career, and she falls under the radar in so many good ways. And then she stands up like straight up in the spotlight in so many ways that are impactful. I also think that, I think her lived experience is really important, and I like that platform for her, and I love what she says.
I agree. I think she sticks out in the right way, in the right place, like for her, and that's really inspiring inspiring
Mm-hmm.
in a way that makes you feel like you could do the same.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, best place that you've traveled to.
I mean, listen, I like no place can really beat New York City for me. But I would say the best place I traveled that I'd also want to live is Paris, and best place I've traveled that I just want to keep going back to is Santorini, Greece, which is also where I got engaged. Love it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, one thing on your bucket list.
Become a doctor. Is that possible? I think so.
Of course.
I know. I think it's it's like a thing. Okay, listen. I really want to like the three things, and I'm not even joking. But like, I think my bucket list is to know Oprah. I used to say to meet Oprah, but I want to know Oprah. I want to. I think that we'd be friends, and I don't even say that the way a lot of people say that. I mean, I really do think we would be friends. So I think knowing Oprah, singing on stage for sure, or dancing, like something I don't know, maybe with Beyonce, or being a doctor. This is my bucket list. Not even kidding. You know what I'm saying? Anybody who knows me well is like could just say those exact same things. And like the thing is, I will make them happen in some way, shape, or form. I've met Oprah. I mean, I was meeting her because I like went to her show, but can't. Kylie.
You will know you soon.
Yeah. I think she will. Like there's plenty of opportunities for us to come into orbit. So anyway.
So Billie Eilish, Oprah, Beyonce, if you guys are listening,
Yeah.
hit us up.
Yeah. If any of them need a brave coach. I'm best. I'm the best in service of others.
I'm the best in ever. Oh, amazing. Okay, I'm adding a quick one here. I want to know if you could describe both of your kids in 1 to 2 words each.
Yes, I can. So Vivian, so my wife and I both are the guy who helped us make our kids is a really good friend, Michael. And so we get to see him in our kids every day too. But I had Vivian, the girl, and Mamie, my wife, had George, the boy. So Vivian is little Krista, or um powerful weirdo. I mean, I
She's
think
amazing.
she is awesome. I mean, she is legit and like just so owns herself. Oh, I love it. Inspired every day. And Georgie is like, oh God. Um, he's quiet power, man.
Quiet power.
Yeah. Yeah. But there's in both of them, there's like a wide-eyed enthusiasticness that they share. But yeah, I am so lucky to have healthy kids, number one, and two, to have like my kids are so awesome. I like think they're so awesome, and I can't wait to see what they become. And as a parent, like my number one thing for them is like I just want them to have pathways to expression. And that's essentially what I do at Brave. I want them to be able to express themselves, whatever that is. And I feel like growing up, that's not something that was easy for me. I wish somebody had told me how to get my feelings out, how to like be in a place. And the closest I could come to was a lacrosse game when we were winning and I was scoring to get me to the feeling that I feel like I needed more of, which felt like almost like full expression. What I know now is like I have it on stage. I have it in ad-libbing moments. I have it when I'm hosting something. I have it when I'm facilitating at Brave. Like that is my fully expressed self. And I want for my kids and for all kids and for all people to find that thing that you do that you're just like, good. I feel like I'm unzipped myself. I'm exactly where I am doing what I am. And even if I'm not that good at it, it feels too good to stop doing it. And I think that's brave.
Oh, I think that's the bravest. I
Yeah.
will end on that.
Yeah.
I think we are going to end on that because you just mic dropped in my face.
What?
I love it. I love it. I couldn't expect anything less. And I am just, listen, I could sit on here on Zoom with you for hours on hours on hours. And I just want to say this is the first time that I really have not looked at my notes for a conversation. And that's just how much it was flowing and how much I really wanted to learn more about everything that you were saying about your story and your journey and everybody that's kind of, touched you and everyone that you've impacted and been an impact player for. So thank you for all of the wisdom that you've dropped, not only in the last hour and 20 minutes, but in the last 3 or so years of knowing you. And thank you for paving the way for people like me to be able to to do what I do, not only for a living, but in the space that I'm in, and to be the person that I am in, be brave enough to be able to figure out a brave pitch within 10 seconds on my own podcast, which I never thought I could have. So,
Well, you're welcome for all that. And, my thanks are to you for, inviting me onto your platform and keeping me relevant in this game, and, to being so curious for your own damn life. Like, it's awesome. And it's beautiful to see somebody, with as much talent as you have also, be as curious about what's next for her, as you are. So it's brilliant to watch you crush it.
oh, thank you. Right back at you.
You're welcome,
Seriously,
babe.
thank you so much for being here. Thank you everybody for listening. Mic drop. We are going on our retreat in New York City tomorrow, so I won't have my phone on me. Don't try to contact me. Don't text. I'll be trying to figure out my way to Krista's apartment to hang out with her kids, but if I get lost, it's okay. You gave me the permission slip. Oh my God. On that note, we are out. We're gonna end. Bye, Krista. Thank you.
Bye. Toodles.